going on? We're back with more The Anonymous coverage. I'm Lauren, always with me, Adrian, and we are joined by a very special guest. Victoria is in the house. How are you doing, Victoria?
What is up? I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Great.
Doing ducky. Love it.
Happy to have you on. And you're the very first that we've had on as one of the newer people that joined as the show had already gone. So talk me through that. I'm ready to jump in because I don't know. We haven't heard from anybody else yet. So you're the first one that is able to give us the tea on that.
Oh, the newbie tea. Well, I mean, we come in piping hot if that's the tea you want to be served, but we really do. We come in hot. And as soon as we entered the domain, drama and showmance and everything starts brewing. I think we were definitely a curveball for the OGs in the house. So we knew it was like, okay, we got to stick together. And no matter what happens, we got to have each other's backs. But at the end of the day, we had to come in like with guns blazing.
You definitely did come in with guns blazing, especially with regards to Christopher's there. Was that something that you were anticipating coming into the house, that there might be someone there that you might be interested in?
I mean, you never know. I was like, I hope there's some hot people here. So I'm like, okay, I hope there's some hot people here. Like, you never know what's going to happen. But it wasn't like on the forefront of my mind. Obviously, I came into this game to win it. And that's like the only thing that's on my mind. You'll see that throughout the episodes, and you probably saw me coming in and how crazy it's been. So, but I feel like, who doesn't like a little bit of romance?
Absolutely. That now, when you were coming in and you were doing your, I'm sorry about that. Was there like a thought process to Chris? Did you Christopher? I'm sorry. Did you feel? I don't know. No, he's very particular about that, and I respect that. But so it was a little bit of manipulation on your part, if I'm not mistaken, or because you're coming in both ways on it.
I want to call it manipulation. I was very candid with him, and I'm like, I'm not using you at all. And there'll come a point. I was like, we kind of like shook on it. Like, if there has to come a point we have to come against each other, we will. But like, for the most part, we weren't. But I guess for the manipulation is I was voting for him, or am voting for him if you're watching it. And I had to like lie to his face all the time. Of course not. And that was. I would be giggling all the time. I remember everyone in the cast is like, you giggle so much because I was just lying so much, and it's not really essentially who I am, but I know I had to put it on for the show.
Well, right. You definitely put it on for the show. I mean, you've proven to be a way more savvy game player than you've let on initially, and I respect that.
I feel like a lot of people, because like I model, I do like the content creating stuff, but I told people, I what's funny is I was going to tell people when I came in the show that I'm a farmer, and then I looked at my outfits and I'm like, I can't keep that up. I didn't bring any boots, and no one's going to believe me. I did grow up on a farm though, so I kind of had it down pat, and then I looked at my outfits and I'm like, this ain't going to happen. So I'm like, I'm going to be honest about my profession and everything. And I told everyone I went to law school and I worked in criminal law, and I think everyone just forgot about it on the show. So I was like, all right, well, I was born and bred to read people. That's what I went to school for. And I feel like I was a little bit stereotyped by my cast members as just being like, oh, she's the dumb model here. So I think that gave me an advantage.
Yeah, spot on. So you enter in, obviously, aside from Christopher, is there anyone initially that stood out to you? Because the gameplay is already going on that you wanted to kind of try and get in with. And was there anyone where you're like, absolutely not, really have no interest?
I mean, a couple notes on that. I mean, when we first entered, Dylan and I instantly connected. I wouldn't say I have a huge personality, but he has a great personality. He just was so happy and having fun. And it's funny because the day I came on the show was actually my birthday. So I was like super hyped. And everybody else was tired. So I'm like, yeah, Dylan. Dylan was super hyped. So I connected with him immediately. Andy, I connected with him immediately as well. Come to find out, like, me and Andy had lived like 2 streets away from each other and had never known because he had lived in Charleston at the time, and I went to law school in Charleston. So kind of just crazy like string theory going on in the house. Like Christopher's from North Carolina, I'm from North Carolina, Nina's from North Carolina. I'm like, how many Carolina people we got in here? So the Carolina squad, like really, I feel like that was an alliance in itself immediately. We're just like Carolina people. And then I've just never watched, this is kind of funny, like going on this, I've never really watched reality shows. But I knew Xavier, like Xavier told me he was a lawyer. So I was like, oh, I want to be in with him. So I feel like initially right off the bat, those are the people who like stuck out to me, was like Dylan, Andy, Nina, Xavier. And
Love
Christopher, obviously.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, you
I feel like that's a given.
You know you're gonna get flack for that one. So obviously they explain the game and all that, and you go in and you're gonna pick your handle. What's your thought process on picking the one that you went with?
Yeah, I knew. I mean, I was like, okay, I'm going to be in this. If I'm going to be in this house a while, there might be a possibility I slip up and say something like, "Oh, I really love popsicles," or I just felt like I don't want anything to come out of my mouth that's going to represent the handle, like nothing. So I have no affiliation with a cactus or cacti whatsoever. Like I'm from the South. Like there's no cactus anywhere. So yeah, I'm gonna pick that handle. There's no way I'm gonna end up talking about it in a sentence and be like, oh my God, word vomit when I'm in the house. So that's why I picked that one.
Yeah, and I wouldn't consider you as somebody who has a thorny personality or anything.
I thought it was funny. I'll be like, let's get thorny in here. That'd be like my tagline, but I couldn't tell anyone my handles, so I just had to keep that like little tagline to myself.
Did you find that difficult keeping some of those secrets, or was it just chill?
Yeah, I mean, so difficult, especially as like, you know, we're spending all this time together. I mean, I'm literally sleeping next to Andy. We're like sleeping in like we're like glorified glamping with every one of us. And we're all just like chatting and we're just getting to know each other and becoming like really tight. And I'm sitting here like continually lying to these people. So I had to in my mind separate like, this is a game that we're in. It's not real life. So I just have to separate the two in my head. But it was hard because I don't like necessarily enjoy lying to people, but I knew like this is a game, so I'm gonna have to.
It's a game and it's for money, so that's why you gotta lie and you have to do what you have to do. So obviously you find out that you automatically get safety for the first go around, and then you guys are selecting who you want to be on your teams for the challenge. Walk me through the team, because you got a little bit of the edge from Christopher on that one.
I just felt like I felt like all eyes were on me and Christopher from like the get-go, and I could tell like people were getting a little salty about, oh, there's a couple in the house. I could feel the energy. I'm like, I'm not dumb. I'm not naive. I know people are like staring at me. So I wanted to show like, hey guys, I'm also my own individual person here. So that's why I was like, I can't be the first one to pick Christopher, but he was going to be my number 2 pick. And then Bismuth stole him from me. And I was like, crap. So, but I knew I was
flack for that.
Everyone was like talking about Robbie a lot in the house and how like visually smart she is. And I could tell off the bat. And I also knew she was, you know, not telling about her real career path. So I was like, something's up here. I want to get to know her a little bit better. And that's why I picked her first out of everybody else other than Christopher. But I wanted to show I was like, you know, my own person as well. But I obviously regretted that. I should have picked him first.
I will say though, on paper though, we even talked about this. Robbie was a really good pick, we thought, just based on how well Robbie had done in the challenges up to that point, even so. So it wasn't a bad pick by any means for the first one.
Yeah, I mean, everyone had talked about the other challenges that had went on, you know, while we're in our little reality portion in the game or in the domain. Like, you know, obviously word of mouth got around fast that Robbie guessed on that the waterfall challenge like 10 right, and how she was the highest. So I'm like, okay, if she's visually in tune like that, this is also like a visual first challenge that we're in. So I wanted to pick her. That was a strategic play on my end to pick her if I wasn't going to pick Christopher first.
Yeah, so I want to talk about the anonymous. So on paper, really, you don't have as much time to read people, get to know people, what their tendencies are. However, you do indeed become the anonymous and have a choice right off the bat. Let's hear your whole entire thought process through that.
I was like dancing in my hideout when I got the anonymous. What the heck? You see me kind of crouch to the ground because I was like, oh, I was shocked. Because like going in here, I didn't know if I would do that well. But I guess everyone just really had me stereotyped in this corner of being this, dumb model or whatever personality they wanted me to have. And it worked out in my favor. So no one in a million years would have ever guessed I would have voted for Chris. So that was like the last thing on their mind. And also like there was a bunch of tea going around the house and they didn't really think the newbies would be on to the prize fund yet. So that's why I put like Dylan hasn't contributed anything to the prize fund. Also, I knew that would like get some people heated. Stirring the pot. So that combined with like no one ever thinking I would vote for Christopher, I feel like just gave me that initial push to become the anonymous. And I just leaned into the stereotype part that they wanted to put me in the house because I'm like, I'll outplay you then on the anonymous mode for sure.
So you're saying that you were intentionally trying to sow a little bit of chaos in the anonymous chat. Do you think that that's imperative to like doing well long term in the game?
Yes, I think you have to stir a lot of chaos in the chat. If you're too quiet in the chat, I think it gets a little obvious, like who's who. I feel like you have to like stir some tea up in the chat and start throwing names out there from the get-go immediately. Because I could tell, like even when I was like reading the chats, I'm like, this sounds very similar to what someone else said, or this gives their timid energy, like stuff like that you could pick up on.
Well, I want to wrap it up with this. Is there anything you kind of want to tease us with just a little bit without giving obviously too much away?
Well, I feel like there's more drama, more tea, more everything to come. I think as the game goes on, things get pretty heated and yeah, like there'll be more than just the one Dylan outburst we've seen so far. So I definitely would stay tuned because I feel like you're going to see a lot of personalities start to clash. And for me, I feel like maybe my stereotype will take me far. Who knows? You'll have to keep tuning in to see.
Well, we're definitely excited to see it because you've definitely thrown a wrench into the works with what the show initially started out as, and I'm excited to see where you're going to end up.
No, I appreciate it, you guys, and I really want everyone to watch The Anonymous. Such a good show, and production and the whole crew did such a great job, and the cast, like outside of the game, we're all friends, so we're all pretty tight. So I have to say, it's a good group of us.
We love to hear that. Is there anything else you want to leave us with? Anything else you want to plug?
No, I think that's it. I'm just here in New York fashion and just hanging out. So I'm glad I got to catch you guys.
Yeah, we're glad you're able to come on. Thank you so much. You're a pleasure to have on, Victoria, and we hope to hopefully maybe have you on at some point again in the future because we really enjoy the insight. So
yeah, we need more tea.
Yes, we do.
Well, I can't wait for you to watch episode 6 tonight. So
yes. All right, that's a wrap, everyone. Thanks.